Welcome to Ask Dr. Tom. We connect with Dr. Tom to talk about all things health and wellness, cancer treatment, etc. This is Ask Dr. Tom with Dr. Thomas Incledon. He's the founder and CEO of Causenta Wellness and the Causenta Cancer Treatment Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. From working with NFL, MLB, MMA, world-class athletes, and even the White House, Dr. Tom's reputation of personalized medicine and cutting-edge technologies have put him on the map for caring for some of the most powerful people in the world, making him one of the most sought-after healthcare professionals of our time. Do you have any feeling on the last meal of the day or the last food consumption of the day in proximity to when you're going to sleep so you get better sleep without having to digest while you're laying there?
Yeah, there's so as people get older, more people seem to complain about eating too close to bedtime and how that makes it difficult to sleep. So there's definitely it definitely may be prudent to, let's say, not eat a giant meal. Don't hit the buffet right before bedtime. And part of that, we see a lot of people that have acid reflux and things like that. Some of that can be eliminated through just getting microbiome testing and addressing what shows up. Some of that just there's other changes going on that we don't quite understand. But I think it's a prudent strategy to kind of not overeat or not fill yourself up before going to bed.
You mentioned a test, Dr. Tom, that you could do or a doctor could do, but obviously you all can do it there at Causenta, and people can figure out what food works for them and what food doesn't. How specific does that get?
Well, we got pretty precise capabilities now. I mean, we can measure every gene in the human body. We can measure every organism in a microbiome. We can measure every vitamin and mineral. We can measure every hormone and all kinds of other markers. We can measure how your body responds to food like 7 different ways. And, we can look at how your body responds genetically and all these other possibilities. And the significance of that is now we could find like details that we never could before in history. And just to kind of give people like a glimpse of the future, we're getting to the point where we now kind of have this awareness that first we thought genetics was everything. And then we realized genetics really isn't everything. Now we're thinking microbiome is everything. But what it kind of, what I think if you look at all the research as a whole, we see that certain organisms appear to control the ability of molecules that are produced in our body, and those molecules are critical for brain function. Those molecules are critical for reducing inflammation. And when those organisms are present, we're less likely to have chemical events that lead to Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and possibly a stroke or ALS, stuff like that. We also find that we're less likely to get inflammation that leads to arthritis. So there's clearly a beneficial or therapeutic or even a healthy effect of certain organisms. But as those organisms release those substances, we need building blocks. That's your vitamins, your minerals, your essential amino acids, your essential fatty acids. We need these building blocks in order to kind of implement the chemical signals that are being distributed around the body. And so what I'm basically saying is, in the end, everything kind of matters. Like you need, your genes to be, you need sort of the genes to get the right information so that things could be influenced in the right direction. You need the right microbiome for that to happen in the mouth and the rest of the GI tract. You need the right vitamins and minerals present so that your body could do all the things that it's supposed to be doing. And what tends to happen as we get older, a lot of this stuff just people gradually get tired, they stop moving, and they find themselves in a position where they're not really sure of how did I get here. I was a stud when I was in my 20s, and now I can't get off the couch type of thing. And a lot of that is it starts with first moving and then measuring all this stuff and addressing it. And then, you have to take action. You can't just take a measurement, and you have to do something with that measurement.
I'm fascinated by the concept of this test that you're talking about, because it seems, especially as I run into more and more people, obviously there are people that have or believe that they have like some type of digestive disorder or a Crohn's disease or whatever it is. I wonder how many of those people maybe don't have those things and are just eating the wrong foods. And if we got these tests done, that we would have a better handle of what we should be putting in the tank and what we should be keeping out.
Yeah, there's a panel we're doing right now that looks at over 2,000 tests and looks at every organism ever discovered in terms of bacteria in the digestive tract. And it's pretty robust, every hormone, every vitamin, mineral, this kind of stuff. And then with that information, you learn things like, okay, certain foods have a negative effect on my health. And then certain bacteria are disruptive to my digestion or to inflammation levels in my body. And it could save people a lot of time and money, a lot of money wasted on things that aren't going to work, and a lot of time suffering. I just actually had an executive come in today, and he had some interesting insight. And what he said is that, hey, when I see my doctor, he tells me I don't need to do any tests, and I'm perfectly healthy. And I'm like, interesting. How would he know that, though? Like, if you don't do the test, so it's kind of like, imagine if I said, I'm the strongest guy in the world, and you'd be like, how do you know? Oh, I just feel that way. That's not really precise, And along comes, Magnus Samuelson or Magnus Magnuson, and they're lifting 400-pound overhead easily. There's ways that we could measure things and make it a little more objective. And if you don't know that information, the scary part is that's how people get blindsided. Ask anyone with stage 4 cancer. Almost everybody will tell you, I was healthy before I got cancer. And of course, if you have cancer, what that means is you're not healthy, right? So they're saying they were healthy simply because they didn't have any pain or any suffering. They're not realizing that this damage that was taking place below their radar was taking decades to develop, and no one ever, measured anything to catch it.
Yeah. It's interesting what some people, the experiences that some people go through with their doctors, or the stories people share. And sometimes I have to wonder, is it the person? Like, are they just reporting back some inaccuracies, or did that really happen? But we're in a bold new time here where you can get so much information from this. So that test to me seems like something that almost everybody should at least consider, especially if I would imagine, like, if you're going out to eat and then you're getting tore up for the next couple of days, and you notice that there's a pattern in the way that you feel after you eat, but you can't quite put it together, for sure, those people should be considering that test. So how do they, like you mentioned, maybe it's too expensive for some people. Like, how expensive is it?
So to do the panel that I would recommend everyone is $5,400, and it measures thousands of markers. If someone says, hey, look, that's outside my budget, that panel is really like 30 separate panels combined, and it's at an incredible discount or saving. So like an example would be average person does not know prices of lab tests.
Yeah.
So they'll do things like, they'll go and they'll see what insurance covers, which means really that they're only getting what someone is making available to them in a limited selection. They're not seeing the whole menu or the whole everything that is available. So it's like getting half the story. So then if they go on their own to like a lab and say, I want to get, let's say an example, a guy wants total testosterone, the price across the United States for that single test varies anywhere from like $20 to $240. So let's just say you have a 20x variance. So this test is 20 times depending where you go in the United States. The way that we leverage things to save people incredible amounts of time and money is we do these giant panels where now you're going to get testosterone done for under $3. And it's the most accurate, modern technology known. So now because that test is so much less expensive, you could do, another 2,000 tests. And when you add it all up, yeah, it's, $5,400, and it could be a lot of money to some people. But if you try to do that on your own, you might be paying 7 to 10 times more. And, so let's say you're paying $35,000 if you did it all. Well, that wouldn't make any sense, but that's what most people actually do. They'll do a limited number of tests, say, oh, I got a good deal. I paid $300, but they're paying, maybe 10 to 15 times more for those tests. Whereas if they got it leveraged in a package like I was sharing, then you can get so much more information at the same price point or better. If someone said, hey, that's too much, what I would say is we could also do just the GI portion, or just one of the other portions. And some of those other panels might be anywhere from $300 to $700. So it'd be less than $5,400.
So I'm asked all the time by patients, what's the difference between personalized medicine and traditional medicine? And in traditional medicine, there's a singular approach. So you have cancer A, and for cancer A, here is the standard of care treatment. And after you go through the standard of care treatment and it doesn't work, typically there's not a plan B. There's not another option. So then patients are told, hey, there's nothing else that can be done. And so then they're convinced that, hey, there's no hope and we can't do anything else. Now I want to contrast that in a personalized approach that we have at Causenta. We're going to measure all kinds of details within your body. And we're going to find lots of areas that we can actually improve your health. And then indirectly, by improving those areas, we're going to help you do a better job at fighting cancer. So where someone else would say, hey, there's nothing that could be done, we're going to say, hey, there's lots of opportunity here to improve your health and make sure that you have a better quality of life so that you're able to function and live life under your own terms and not just waste away in a bed in hospice somewhere and watch everything go by you as time passes on. So if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer and you're looking to get help, I strongly encourage you to go to causenta.com and fill out the form at the bottom of the page and find out for yourself how we can help you.